Hey guys, Twisted Mexi here. I'm excited to say my Organized Debug mod has entered early access as of Tuesday. I've renamed that mod to Better Build By as it's more than just debug organization, and I wanted this to be my sort of end-all be-all mod to BuildBuy Improvements. That means this mod includes expandable catalog and build mode freecam in addition to its new features. So if you do have either one of those mods as a standalone, you'll want to remove them if you're installing this mod. I wanted to do a video on this to kind of go over how Better Build By behaves and to make sure everyone is aware of all of its options. I'll start with what most of you are probably here for, and that's the Organized Debug. So when you first install Better Build By, Organized Debug will not be turned on. Instead, you'll need to load your game up and open Build By, go to Filters, then scroll to the newly added Better Build By section, expand it, and select Organized Debug. You'll receive this pop-up that lists what features are enabled with it on, and that you'll need to turn it back off before uploading. So I did try to avoid the CC tag with the organization, but there's no way to avoid it when it's on, and so because of that, instead you'll need to toggle it off in this filter and restart the game before uploading. I know it's not super convenient, but when I did a poll, most seemed to agree that the trade-off was well worth it. So we'll go ahead and close that box, restart the game, and now we're good to start building. Let's enter Build By, and since we want to show off the debug and live edit only right now, we'll go to Filters, Content, and check the Hide Maxis button, which removes any of the regular Maxis items. Then we want to turn on Debug and Live Edit, so we'll check these two filters. These are all you need to enable debug and live edit. You should not use the cheats when this mod is installed. If you have MC Command Center, so far the always on cheat settings don't seem to interfere with Better Build By, but if it does, just turn off the always on settings. Better Build By's filters will assume control over the cheats either way. So now that that's on, let's take a look around. If we go to sort by function, you'll see that we have a debug and live edit drop down option. You will need Organized Debug and the debug or live edit filters turned on for these to work, but that may change before public release. If you're having trouble locating something, these are here as a catch-all for each category, so don't worry, but the real improvement is that in most cases you shouldn't need these. Instead, we'll look through the normal room categories. For example, we'll start with trees. You'll see that with debug and live edit on, we now have a huge selection in trees, and it doesn't stop there. Clicking through, you'll see that shrubs and flowers as well as rocks are all right where you'd expect them to be. By the way, this red cube is actually part of debug, and I did a poll on it where people decided we should leave it in. You can affectionately refer to it as the deprecated shrub cube. Let me cover a few other features really quick, and then we'll look through the rest of the categories. First of all, when organization is on, you can clone and destroy debug objects to your heart's content. That includes shift placing as well as the eyedropper. So we've placed this rock. I'll grab the eyedropper, and you can see when we hover over it, you'll also spot that the object has been named. What I've done is I've taken any of the unnamed debug items and programmatically added their technical names to the catalog data. So instead of seeing debug, you'll see the same name that the developers use internally. This will also let you search, which I'll cover in a second. So we'll go ahead and eyedrop this, and presto, we get a new copy of it as well as finding it in the catalog. One catch to this is the fabricated furniture. You can't eyedrop them because they're tagged as fabricated. In order to fix that, I'd have to remove that tag, which would break gameplay, so I've decided to leave it as is. So to search, let's say I wanted to find a palm tree. I type in tree, and as suggestions come up, I narrow it down to the palm tree. And done, and done. One thing to note about search and the eyedropper is that the hide maxis filter will deselect when you use either option. This matches normal maxis behavior, and it's done so that the search doesn't appear to fail to find anything when it's really just filtered out. I may try to change this before public release so that it only clears if no results are found while it's on. Finally, because filters are going to be such an important part of your build by experience, I've made them persistent. That means if I only wanted to see red objects and I go to live mode, then return to build by, you'll see my filters are all still active. If you use my tool mod, we both know how much switching between BuildBuy you do with tool, so I cannot stress enough how much you need better BuildBuy. I'm going to take a minute here to just quickly go over the categories for your reference. Debug fences can be found in gates. This is because the fence category only works for real build fences, and live edit fences are objects. Ponds can be found in water objects, and the giant garage door is found in wall sculptures. Debug doors are of course in doors, and food is where you would keep it, in the refrigerator of course. Miscellaneous decor is where you can find anything that's purely decorative and doesn't really fit any other category, especially the live edit street decor. Kitchen appliances contain any of the debug objects that would be found in a kitchen, wooden spoons and spices for example. Trash cans contain, yeah, you guessed it, trash. Indoor plants contain a variety of debug potted plants. I debated on whether the knitted ones belonged here or not, but since they're technically imitating a plant and their internal name is also a plant, I decided to just leave them here. All of your pet needs can be covered in the pet bowls or pet care categories. This is also a good time to mention objects are swatched, so if you wanted a rainbow poo, just select that swatch. All of your furniture is of course where you would expect as well, which you'll see more of once we move on to the living room. Almost all of the debug items for the bathroom are contained in bathroom accents. Makeup, plungers, medicine, it's all here. We also have crafted bathtubs and toilets, as well as some debug rugs. By the way, the fabricated rug is just a giant band-aid, changed my mind. I'm just going to gloss over the remaining categories for you quickly, as I figure you've got the idea by now. Sculptures will be where you find most of the landmark live edit buildings. Debug books can naturally be found in the bookshelf. Tiny miscellaneous objects can be found in clutter. Gardening supplies can be found in outdoor activities. And finally, transportation contains all of your bikes, cars, planes, boats, and even UFOs. Very quickly, it's important that you follow the instructions to the T on my Patreon post. If you put the moda folder too high or too low, it's not going to work for you. Specifically, when installed properly, you should see the exact folder name tmex-better buildbuy when looking at your mods directory. If you open that folder, there should be a script file, a package file, and a data folder. On Mac, sometimes it will automatically unzip when you download, so take that tmex-better buildbuy folder and drag it directly to your mods folder. That's pretty much it. If no issues are found, the mod should release publicly on Wednesday the 9th. We're a few days into the early access now, and so far, so good. Once it publicly releases, you can always use twistedmexi.com to grab the latest version. If you'd like to support me or join the early access of the mod, you can join me on Patreon. As always, I do greatly appreciate the support. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope you have a good day. As I was finishing up this video, we actually received an update that finally lets you place windows on the same wall. Also, don't worry, my mods are still working fine.